The sea has always been mankind's oldest companion and its darkest enemy. Fishermen say the ocean keeps secrets, swallowing them into its endless depths, only to spit them out years later in strange and terrifying ways. In 1989, off the coast of Maine, the U.S. Coast Guard received a frantic distress signal from an unknown vessel. The message was short, broken by static. "Mayday! Engine! Crew missing! Help!" But when the Coast Guard traced the signal and reached the coordinates, all they found was an old, rusting freighter drifting silently across the waves. The ship's name, faintly painted on its bow, read Providence Dawn. No crew, no cargo, no explanation. Discovery at sea. The ship was eerily still, its deck rocking slightly, as if it had been asleep for years. The Coast Guard boarded cautiously, flashlights cutting through the thick fog that clung to the vessel. Inside, they found tables set for dinner in the mess hall, plates of food rotting, cups half full, as though the crew had vanished mid-meal. In the captain's cabin, logbooks ended abruptly with a final chilling line written in shaky handwriting. "The sea is calling us. We cannot resist." Even stranger, every clock on board had stopped at exactly 3:17 a.m. The investigation. Back on land, the ship was hauled into harbor for inspection under U.S. maritime ordinance. Official reports noted no signs of struggle, no bodies, no evidence of evacuation. Life rafts were still strapped to their racks. The Coast Guard labeled it an unexplained abandonment and sealed the vessel. But word of the discovery spread quickly. Journalists dubbed it America's ghost ship. Locals whispered that the Providence Dawn was cursed, doomed to sail the Atlantic forever. Still, the government refused to scrap the vessel. They wanted answers. Night watch. Weeks later, the Coast Guard assigned a watch team to monitor the ship overnight. On the first night, officers reported strange noises, chains rattling, footsteps echoing on the empty decks, whispers carried by the wind. One officer swore he saw a figure at the bow of the ship, a tall man in a drenched captain's uniform, before it vanished into the mist. Another claimed he heard faint singing, like a lullaby in a language no one understood. By the third night, half the crew refused to go back aboard. The hidden room. It wasn't until a month later that a full investigation uncovered something chilling. Behind a welded steel plate in the cargo hold, inspectors discovered a hidden room. Inside were rows of shackles bolted to the walls, rusted but unmistakable. Old, weather-worn crates revealed human bones, jewelry, and artifacts dating back to the 1700s. The Providence Dawn, it seemed, had once been a slave ship, its history buried beneath decades of refitting and renaming. The ship's curse, many believed, came from the restless souls of those who perished within its dark belly. The final mission. In 1990, the U.S. Navy attempted one final mission: to tow the Providence Dawn out to international waters and sink it, erasing the cursed ship once and for all. On a cold November morning, the freighter was chained to a destroyer and dragged toward the open ocean. But halfway through the mission, a thick fog rolled in, swallowing both vessels. Radio contact crackled with static. The destroyer's crew reported hearing screams echoing across the water, even though the ghost ship was empty. Then, suddenly, the tow line snapped. When the fog cleared, the Providence Dawn was gone, vanished. The destroyer searched the area for 3 days, but no trace of the freighter was ever found. Modern sightings. Over the years, fishermen and cargo ships along the eastern seaboard have reported seeing a dark freighter drifting silently through the fog. Always the same description: rusted hull,
broken mast, faint letters on the bow, Providence Dawn. Some claim the ship follows them for miles before vanishing. Others say they've heard ghostly voices over their radios repeating the same message. The sea is calling us. We cannot resist. In 2004, a yacht sailing near Cape Cod reported colliding with a massive vessel that appeared out of nowhere. But when Coast Guard helicopters arrived, there was no ship. Only the wreckage of the yacht and 3 shaken survivors. Theories and legends. Skeptics argue the Providence Dawn never was real, just a sailor's ghost story exaggerated over time. But maritime records confirm its existence. Its original logs, preserved in archives, match the vessel found in 1989. Some believe the ship is trapped in a time loop, forever repeating its final voyage. Others suggest it's a classic case of mass hysteria at sea. But for those who have seen it with their own eyes, the legend is undeniable. The Providence Dawn sails still, crewless, timeless, cursed. Conclusion. Today, U.S. Maritime Ordnance files still list the Providence Dawn as missing, presumed lost. But many wonder if the government knows more than it admits. After all, if a ghost ship could appear and vanish at will, what else might be lurking beneath the waves of the Atlantic Ocean? The sea is vast, and its secrets are endless. Somewhere out there, in the foggy waters off America's coast, a ship drifts silently through the night, its decks empty, its history soaked in blood, its call echoing in the darkness. The sea is calling us. We cannot resist.